Whether it's a hot time in Florida or a rainy night in Georgia,
looking for trouble?
It's the perfect time for the TCBcast, an unofficial Elvis fan podcast.
Oh, yes, sir. Good to see you go, Philip. This Black Fix bring you the hottest thing in the country, real hot and blue, coming to WHB in Memphis, Tennessee.
With your hosts, Justin Gosman and Gurdip Ladar. The TCBcast is on the air.
So during a break, Freddie Beanstalk, who brought the demo of Don't Be Cruel, played it. And I guess Elvis loved it. And that's where we get that. Now, we've never heard a demo, the original demo, right?
No, the Otis Blackwell demo we haven't heard.
Because the ones that we hear of him singing it, it's been sung after Elvis did his version, so it's kind of close to Elvis's. But I'm curious how he would have sang it himself originally.
Yeah, and it obviously didn't sound like, well, going back to the Jackie Wilson thing, it obviously didn't sound like that one either.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Elvis would have picked up on, because, he would have said, it sounded like the demo, actually. No, there's none of that. It's just,
vastly different.
But, I mean, what more can we really say about Don't Be Cruel? It's one of the... It's an excellent track, right? I mean, him and the Jordanaires play off each other. It's great.
Yeah.
You know I can be found sitting home all alone. If you can't come around, at least please telephone. Don't be cruel to who heart is true.
So I'm not going out on any limb here, but I don't know if I've actually said this on the show before or not, but Don't Be Cruel is, I think, my favorite Elvis song.
Really? All time?
Like just hands down. Like my number one favorite Elvis song. It is just
I think Jerry Lee Lewis said
so
that
much
too
fun.
as well. That it's his favorite Elvis song.
Who said that?
Jerry Lee Lewis.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think it was in a documentary I saw a long time ago.
Well, Carl,
they were asking him.
Yeah.
No.
Carl said he paid him to say that.
Exactly. That $20 went a long way. But Don't Be Cruel is, and the fascinating thing is there's electric guitar in two spots. He just lays out for the rest of it, but it doesn't need it. The vocals are just so strong, and it's I like it. I do think that same technique was made a little more perfect in its own way with I Beg of You the following year. Not the alternate, the master, the final master. Okay. But that's just because I tend to gravitate toward that 57, that sense of sensuality that Elvis was purposefully adding to recordings at that time.
I don't want my heart to be broken, but it's the only one I got. So darling, please be careful, even though I care a lot. Darling, please don't break my heart, I beg of you. Baby, if I made you mad for something I might have said, please don't forget my past. The future looks bright ahead. Don't be cruel to who heart is true.
See, and that's one thing with Don't Be Cruel that I actually appreciate, that it doesn't go down. And I love some of the other songs that he does where he gets more into that kind of sensual vocal styling.
Yeah.
But Don't Be Cruel I like because it's a very pure performance.
It is.
It's very innocent in the way that it's performed. Even though it treats it's a romantic song rather than a sexual song.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
And we got that awesome guitar slapping from Elvis on it, which he loved because he would do that multiple times. Wear My Ring Around Your Neck was one where he went all out on that.
Oh yeah, Teddy Bear. Well, yeah, I Beg of You. It's on that too.
But then the strange thing is, he liked the way Jackie Wilson did it. He thought it was much better than his. So.
I heard this guy in Las Vegas. Billy Ward and his dominoes. Billy Ward and his dominoes. There's a guy out there who was doing a takeoff on me. Don't be cruel. He tried so hard until he got much better, boy. Much better than that record of mine. He got back in the whole quartet. They got to feel it on in. He said, it's exactly what he said. Well, I don't want to know other love. He was hitting it. Grabbed the microphone and went down to the last note, went all the way down to the floor, man, looking straight up in the ceiling. Man, it cut him out. I was on the table when he got this thing.
I don't know. That's terrific.
And he had his feet turned in like this, and all the time he was singing, them feet was going in and out, both ways, sliding like this. He says, hey, you know I can be found. He says, at least, please, a telephone.
Telephone.
Don't be close.
I'll pay half the fare to get him in here. Too paralyzed like you thought about doing it later after you'd already done it.
No, I can't do that one. He said,
What was just a member of...
just a member of Ward's Dominoes. He had already he had already done Hound Dog and another one or two, and he didn't do too well. You know, he was trying too hard. But he done that Don't Be Cruel. He was trying so hard that he got better, boy. Woo. Man, he sung that song. That quartet in the background, you know. Ba-da, 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 and he was out there cutting it, man, and I'm going way up in there.
That's interesting.
To the point that he started implementing, some of the phrasing from
I know later on.
version.
Yeah.
The telephone.
You know I can be found sitting home all alone. If you can come around, at least please a telephone.
Yeah. Well, I think I think it was more of that he liked the way it felt live.
Yeah.
Because Don't Be Cruel is a great song, but doing it at I can speak to this because I've done it live both ways, and I've performed the song live both ways. I should be clear about that. Are you guys still there?
Yeah, we're still here.
Yeah,
okay, sorry. It's just everything went really quiet. I'm like, okay.
We were entranced. We're just sitting at your feet listening.
Okay. Well, anyway, so doing the Studio Master as it is, and doing it more like the Studio Master tends to be a little same when you perform it live, because there's no crescendo thing at the end. There's no, I think Elvis was maybe not so much drawn to, I wish I'd done it like that in the studio, because Elvis was first and foremost a performer with this stuff. So I think at that point, the record already come out. Elvis was thinking now about the way it sounds live. And so he liked that much better than performing it like he was doing, which is more like the record. So he started incorporating that into the live performance versions, just because he liked that feel and the fact that there's more energy in it. He can do more things he can do things with his arms. He can do, he can really wind up and really go. And that's not something that he could really do with the other reading.
That makes sense.
Don't stop thinking of me. Don't make me feel this way. Come on over here and love me. You know what I want you to say. And all we could, your heart is true. Why should we be apart? A little baby, close to my heart.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be great to actually see Jackie Wilson do it in Vegas? I mean, wow. Something.
Man. I wish there was a recording of his version when he was with Billy Ward and the Dominoes.
Right.
That would have been fantastic. And then just as a side note, we dived right into Elvis's "Don't Be Cruel," but it was offered to Frankie Valli's band, the Four Lovers, and it was kind of the predecessor to the Four Seasons, and they were pretty much set to record it, and then at the last minute they found out that Elvis was going to cut it, and so Otis pulled it back, and as kind of an apology, he gave them a song called "You're the Apple of My Eye," as sort of like
consolation.
I love you. I truly, truly love you. Can't help but thinking of you.
Rice-a-roni.
And so, so after Don't Be Cruel, then he tackled Any Way You Want Me, That's How I'll Be. The one ballad at this session.
Yep.
I'll be as strong as a mountain, or weak as a willow tree. Any way you want me, well, that's how I will be.
What's your take on Any Way You Want Me, That's How I'll Be, Jamie?
Well, this is the one that Gordon. One of the first things that Gordon said is when I first got to meet him, it was at a performance, and Any Way You Want Me was one of the songs I was doing, and they were backing me up on it, and we were rehearsing it in the dressing room, and he said, "Wow, that takes me back." He said, "That recording is when I first thought, wow, this guy can really sing." Not just that he, because he goes, I was enjoying the other stuff up until then. He goes, not that I wasn't enjoying it, but he said, the other stuff wasn't really vocally challenging, or he didn't think it was, as far as Elvis was going, he's using inflection and using whatever, but as far as just ability, vocal ability, and the power and charisma in his voice, Gordon said that's the first time. That's the first time that he just kind of sat back and thought, wow, this kid can sing. And
and what a powerful recording.
Yeah.
Totally. It's amazing.
Just his delivery on, that title line, Any Way You Want Me, That's How I'll Be, is just, he's like wailing it in like this heart-wrenching way.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so good.
Do you guys that 3-beat guitar riff on this song? It reminds me of "Is It So Strange," because that has the same 3-beat guitar riff. And I don't know if you guys picked up on it, but it's very, very similar.
Oh, if you tell a lie, I'll be as strong as a mountain, or weak as a willow tree.
It goes back to our thing we talked about last week about Elvis in '68, talking about Blue Moon and how that same beat is used for Young Love. Everything keeps getting recycled.
Yeah. Well, there's only so much out there, and they say there's nothing new under the sun, right? And so especially back then, the mindset was in that kind of genre, that kind of mode, and so you see a lot of that kind of repeat in, certain artists. I'm not trying to say anything bad about him, but Chuck Berry, he's got, they used to joke that he's got a lot of repetition. All these are the same song. Well, no, they're not. But people can. Yeah, there's a lot of reuse in that.
Well, and a lot of Chuck Berry's, and I've kind of taken some of a similar stance in the past, not in a mean-spirited way, but he's riffing on the same sort of guitar riffs throughout his career, but it's always a different take on it, but the basis is the same.
Yeah.
I just heard Run Rudolph, and I was like, that sounds like Johnny B. Bad.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. I did I threw Run Run Rudolph into a Christmas show that I did, and I kind of repurposed lyrics of Roll Over Beethoven into it too. So yeah, there's a lot of little borrowing, but hey, I guess if you wrote it,
yeah, why not?
If it ain't broke, just put a new coat of paint on it and drive it out.
That's what we do every week here.
Right.
There you go. Yeah, Arthur Clarke was kind of like did that a bit as well.
Yeah, I mean, even just the two that Elvis covered, That's All Right, and My Baby Left Me, I mean, melodically are pretty much the same.
Really similar.
Yeah. Well, that's why My Baby Left Me, he throws in the scatting portion that he did of That's Right Mama into My Baby Left Me in '74.
Yeah.
So, oh yeah, it's the same pattern, but it works.
Baby left me, never said a word. I done a dee 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 dee. My baby left me, my baby left me. Yeah, my baby left me, never said a word.
And so those were the three recordings from that session.
I also heard rumors that they tried Only You at this session. There's no solid evidence, but that rumor is out there. A few people said they did, so we don't know because there's no tapes.
Yeah, well, I would think there'd be something. We've got the session log, don't we, for that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Keith
Flynn's got it up on his site.
Yeah.
The session log.
Yeah, so you would think that it would be. You think that Only You would be listed because in '58, My Wish Came True was listed in one of the King Creole sessions, even though they never did it. Well, no, sorry, the just post King Creole session, the one that's got Your Cheating Heart and that in it, and that's listed, and they don't have a master for it, so it would make sense that. Yeah, it would kind of make sense that if
it's actually listed on Keith Flynn's site, Only You.
Yes. Oh, well.
Well, I mean, but as a
tryout, it says, and rumor.
He has a caveat,
in the on there. So no, I mean, there's no way of knowing unless you ask people that were there. And I mean, how many years ago was that? So.
Yeah. Well, Gordon never mentioned anything about that. So it's people don't remember things all the time. So that's not necessarily it didn't happen if he didn't say. But he never mentioned anything about that. So
I wish there was tapes out there of that. That'd be great to hear.
Of Only You.
Yeah. Listen to Carl Perkins did a great version of Only You. That's my fourth album. I did Only You, and I.
Yeah, I was about to say you have a pretty solid version as well.
Thank you. Well, mine is heavily influenced by Carl's.
Right.
Because Carl it's great. There's a Bear Family Sunbox of Carl's stuff that's just it's out of this world. It's good stuff. So
nice.
Only you can make this world seem right. Only you can change the darkest night. Only you and you alone can thrill me like you do. I fill my heart with love for only you.
So I did briefly want to touch on Hound Dog and Don't Be Cruel as they evolved through the rest of his career. Like we kind of touched on earlier, it does progress. Most noticeably, he does do a bit of Hound Dog in the home recordings in Germany as a medley with Que Sera Sera. He's just kind of joking around with it.
When I was just a little pup, I asked my mommy, what will I be? Will I be hound dog? Will I be mutt? She told me to. You ain't nothing but a hound. I'm gonna do that on stage. That'd be cute, wouldn't it?
And then he does versions of the songs at the Block Arena in 1961, which was the Pearl Harbor benefit concert. Very solid versions. We covered that on an episode that we did on that show. It's very interesting to hear slightly more evolved versions of them, I guess. And then he wouldn't touch them again until 1968 on Singer Presents Elvis.
Yeah.
What are your guys' takes on those versions? Don't Be Cruel's orchestration is very interesting with all those flutes. And...
Yeah. It's definitely a product. I really enjoy it, but it's definitely a product of its time.
Right. Yeah. And then he does it in the 70s as well a bunch of times. Both those songs, and I'm not really a big fan of him rushing through those songs. So
yeah,
I like to stick to the ones from the 50s.
You know, I do like Elvis's versions of Hound Dog on That's the Way It Is, where he's just got that whole routine of, you know, yelling in the girl's face. And then also the version from Madison Square Garden, where he's got that really kind of funky intro.
And then gets into the loud version of it after.
Yeah. That's always been one of my favorite versions. And then, of course, it was featured in Aloha from Hawaii. It was like a minute long. And then it was on the album Elvis Recorded Live on Stage in Memphis as part of an oldies medley. And then in Elvis in Concert, Rapid City, South Dakota, 1977. And that one had an interesting kind of extended drum solo in there, which, I mean, they had been doing for a while, but that's the more well-known version of that.
Yeah.
I think that's it's definitely an interesting arrangement.
Yep.
Yeah. They're all pretty good. It's funny. I enjoy all of them for very different reasons. There's not a version of Don't Be Cruel or Hound Dog that I'm not, well, as far as like the arrangement as it changed.
Yeah.
I mean, there are, of course, performances where he's like, I don't care.
The delivery's not there.
Yeah. Elvis is
Let's
like,
just get over with this.
I don't. Yeah, exactly. You know, so like, I'm doing this because you want to hear this song, and I want to finish this song. So here we go.
Let's meet in the middle.
Yeah.
So I'm curious with Don't Be Cruel. Why do you think he always paired it up with Teddy Bear? Because post 1972, he never did it solo again.
Probably because he liked the way it sounded, and you know, and if you do it as a medley, you're
not committed to doing the whole
thing. Exactly. It's over. Well, because I mean, Don't Be Cruel. Well, you know, let's be honest. It's an amazing song. I absolutely love the song, and I don't want to give the impression.
Right, but it musically it's the same for all four verses.
Exactly. There's not a big change, which is what drew Elvis to Jackie Wilson's performance.
Yeah, he liked very dynamic songs.
Exactly. And that draw to the dynamic only increased as he got older. So
well, I mean, and you look at something like An American Trilogy. I mean, and that is one of his most dynamic songs that he did. I mean, because it's just so many different places that it goes to.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, big crescendos, and that was he ate that up. He absolutely loved it, and so understanding that that trend in Elvis is certainly key to understanding. His direction with things as he got older, and everybody kind of falls into their patterns of what they like, right? Unless they see something like, oh wow, that's so different, let's go chase that for a while. But yeah, I think that's why, because you know, Teddy Bear is
cutesy.
Yeah, you know,
it's fluff. Yeah. Fluff.
Yeah, well,
literally.
And if he does them in a medley, that gets them both over with, and it kind of keeps it fresh and interesting, and then it's over,
and it satisfies the audience.
Exactly, and that's what I was just about to say, is that like you still have to, when you go out there. Elvis knew this as a performer, that you had to, no matter what else you wanted to do musically, you still had to give the fans the hits, no matter how you delivered them. Because that's why they're there. That's why. You know, they were the ones that supported you and bought those records, and I mean, you gotta give them that as part of the experience.
It's funny. There's two schools of thought. There's and of course varied flavors in the middle. There's the Elvis school of thought, whereas hey, this made you have to at least pay it some attention. And then there's the school of Bob Dylan, where it's like you either came to see me, or you can leave.
Yeah.
Because the whole idea of it's like people like, oh, I'm expecting this. Nothing like that. It's like Bob Dylan made a career of just giving his fans the middle finger and just going, you follow me. That's the way this works. And and there's the I kind of subscribe to a little column A, a little column B, as weird as that sounds, just because I love showing homage to things that were influential. Wow, I learned to speak. This will be great. I like paying homage to things that were influential to me as well, but I also think it's really important to explore and to try new things and to not get caught up too much in all of it. So, you give tastes, you give little hints, you give little things, and then in that you also explore and you try new things musically, and that's actually a lesson that Elvis imparts as well, because if you don't do that, then you get really bored.
Yeah,
and
it's true.
And it starts to show, and then these people are like, oh, Elvis wasn't he wasn't doing it the same, and that sucks. Why was he doing it? Why was he doing it like that? So he's doing it like that to, he's doing it like that because he doesn't want to do it, and he knows he has to do it to shut you up. Right. And so he's like, and so at some point it gets so old that he's like, oh, we got to do something to shake this up. I'm tired of this. How fast can we make this song?
Right.
And and you can't blame him. He did it for a long time.
As a great philosopher once said, and we quote, "You ain't nothing but a man. You ain't nothing but a man. Crying all the time. Well, you ain't never caught a rabbit and you ain't no friend of mine. You ain't nothing but a hound dog. Crying all the time. You're just an old hound dog. Okay. Thank you very much, John.
Literally to his last concert, these songs were with him.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, that's just like, wow. I mean, I totally understand the mentality. I get and agree with it for the most part, but you also have to do some exploration, and sometimes giving yourself a break from that stuff will allow you to come back to it with fresh eyes. If you never allow yourself that space, it never becomes, you never rediscover it again. And that's a shame that Elvis never had the opportunity, or never gave him the opportunity to do that, because the songs do, while there are great performances in every arrangement, in my opinion, and I do enjoy the punch of the versions as time goes on, him not giving himself that break doesn't let some of those arrangements reach the potential that they maybe could have done if he had just stopped doing them for a while.
Yeah, I mean, even when Elvis vocally isn't there, the TCB band is still turning in great performances night after night.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, hitting it. Well, partially because hitting a drum is hitting. I mean, I'm not trying to say that it's all the same, but hitting a drum is hitting a drum. So he's going to give every last ounce of what he has, no matter what the thing is. And for the musicians, they're there to perform and give the people the best they can and to follow the lead performer. And if they had a ton of stuff that they quote unquote had to know, but
and sometimes even he would post random one-offs and just expect them to go along with it, which they were capable of doing it. I mean, you get these random one-offs like "You're the Reason I'm Living," and they could pull it off. Yeah. And that goes to show how much they had mastered their respective instruments and music theory to be able to just pull from their knowledge of chord progressions and things like that to pull together a perfectly serviceable arrangement of any given song, no matter what direction Elvis veered off in.
Like Wooden Heart.
Yeah.
It's like, and I do think on some cases they had Charlie yelling chords and things at them, so they had some sense of where they were. But
right.
But yeah, even so, so it was one of those things where if it's something that they're familiar with, sometimes band. It's not always the case, but there's never a hard and fast rule. But for the most part, the band generally has a different mentality than the performer. The band thinks, okay, we know these songs, we're strong with this, let's go. Whereas the performer, they're the front person, so all eyes are on them. So after a while, it's like, okay, this is the same thing. And the band doesn't always. They can. I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but it's more of a. It's like it's more of a this is the strongest. These are the strongest performances that we have. So let's give these our all. Doesn't matter if it's the first time or the millionth time.
Yeah.
So
for sure.
Yeah, it's much more of a workman-like mentality, but that's because you're not leading the charge.
All eyes are not on you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you can just kind of hang back but pay attention because, especially with Elvis, you had to. But yeah, it's a different.
He would start doing lyrics to one song when you're doing another.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know I can be found sitting home all alone. If you can't come around, at least please a telephone. That's great. That's great. Boy, he sung hell out of it. Your heart is true. Baby, if I made you mad for something I might have said, forget the past. The future looks bright ahead. I don't want no other love. Baby, isn't just you I'm thinking of. Well, I don't stop thinking of me. That don't make me feel this way. Come on over here and love me. You know what I want you to say. Don't be cruel. Your heart is true. I don't want no other love. Baby, it's just you I'm craving. Oh, as I walk up to the preacher, and let her say I do, then you'll know you have me, and I know that I'll have you. Don't be cruel. Your heart is true. Oh, I don't want no other love. Baby, it's just you I'm thinking of. Don't be cruel. Your heart is true. Don't be cruel. Your heart is true. Yeah, I don't want no other love. Baby, it's just you I'm thinking of. Yeah.
So before we wrap up these sessions, obviously Hound Dog and Don't Be Cruel have been covered a cajillion times, but I guess we'll just say each of us, which are our favorite covers of Hound Dog and Don't Be Cruel?
Covers? I don't know about covers. I mean, I like the original a lot of of Hound
Big
Dog.
Mama.
Yeah, the Big Mama. Don't Be Cruel. Who else did it that I really like?
Or I guess what's your favorite version outside of Elvis? I guess we'll say that.
I don't even know who else did it. Who else did it?
Gurdip, Cheap Trick did it.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry. I think I've already made my case about that. I hate the way they perform that song. I don't know why you brought it up. Now it's in my head. That beginning part where they extend the words. I'm like, oh, I just want to strangle somebody. I'll strangle you for bringing it up. Oh my God. Yeah, I hate that. I hate that version. Thank you. I know I can. You know I can be found. Sit home all alone. That doesn't go. That's not how you sing it.
I just wanted to get you off on that tangent.
I can't stand that. I just want to paintbrush their face when they were singing like that.
I don't really have anything for a cover as far as that goes. I will say that I feel like I'm sitting here talking about myself all night, but there's whenever my next album comes out, I don't know when that's going to be because I'm in the middle of writing. Like I said, I'm writing Christmas songs too. But while I'm doing that, I actually have a very modern. I don't want to say One Direction-y sort of pop. I'm trying to say what this is like, and I don't really have an example that really works to my liking. But a very modern version of Any Way You Want Me.
Nice.
That will probably, it's very different. And obviously I don't know when the album's coming out, so I'm not going to give anything away because I don't want anybody taking the arrangement, beat me to it. But
right.
I've got, I have a definite arrangement in my head.
Any Way You Want Me by Mickey Alba. What the
Mickey
hell?
Alba. I cannot hear that. I can't hear the name without hearing the line exactly as it's said.
Yeah,
and
that's why I keep bringing it up because you keep saying it.
Mickey Alba.
Mickey Alba.
A trained seal. It's like Mickey Alba. New York City. No. No. But no. Yeah. So that'll come out whenever it comes out. If it takes as long,
we'll be looking forward to it.
It'll be like 2025. But yeah. So that's one of
something for folks to look forward to.
Yeah. Whenever that comes out.
Well, shall we go ahead and move over to Song of the Week?
Let's go.
Let's make it like the first chorus all the way through.
Since my baby left me, well, I found a new place to dwell. Well, it's I got a girl that I love so.
We can go on together with suspicious minds. I'm all shook up.
Well, that's different. That's a pop song now, Nilliby.
I didn't ask you. Did you pick a Song of the Week this week, Jamie?
Oh,
I don't think we did.
No,
I forgot.
That's okay. You can comment on ours.
Yeah, sure.
So Gurdip, go ahead and go first. I went first last week.
Okay, let's see. I went back to the 50s, my wheelhouse. So I picked Too Much from 1956.
Well, honey, I love you too much. I need your love too much. Want the thrill of your tough energy. I can't love you too much. You do all the living while I do all the giving. Gonna love you too much.
Which is shortly after these sessions that we talked about.
Okay.
So written by, or rather credited to, Lee Rosenberg and Bernard Weinman. Now, I didn't even know about this, but there's apparently a big controversy about the writers of the song. Do any of you know about this?
I don't think so.
Okay. So, Bill Beasley, who owned Republic Records, him and his wife, Joan Norris, actually wrote the song. On the label of the first recording was done by Bernard Hardison. The credit is listed as Norris, who is his wife, and Weinman. Now, Weinman was a financial partner of Billy Beasley, who owned Republic Pictures. Now, why he put him on the record, like as a credit, nobody knows. But since the record went nowhere, and it was pretty much forgotten until Elvis recorded it. So the credit on Elvis's version is listed as Weinman, who was that financial partner, and Rosenberg, who was his secretary. So for some reason, why they were on the record, nobody knows. She was actually the person who got it to Freddie Beanstalk, who gave it to Elvis. So maybe that's why. There's no explanation why. So obviously, when Elvis's record comes out, it's a big hit. It's a big lawsuit where the original writers, Beasley and Norris, were like, "What the hell?" They wrote the song, and then it's against them and Weinman and Rosenberg. And since the song, it was a huge hit. The song, Weinman was flush with cash, and he could afford better lawyers and won the lawsuit. So instead of having too much, Beasley and Norris got nothing. And then on the side note, that secretary whose name.
Hang on, we're not gonna just roll over that. That was amazing.
Thank you. On a side note, that secretary, Rosenberg, who was on the record, her share of the publishing money went to Elvis, so she got nothing either. So basically, it's her name's on it, but she gets nothing. So it's basically Elvis and Weinman, a financial partner, and Elvis, who had nothing to do with writing the song. So that's the backstory of Too Much, Rich.
It's like, oh my God.
Yeah, it's so bizarre, like stuff that you pick up, because I had no idea about this.
You're right.
Okay, so as I said, the first recording of it was by Bernard Hardison in 1955 on Republic Records, backed with "Come to Me, Baby."
Need your loving, need your hugging, need you near me. Please, please hear me. Now you got me started, don't you leave me broken hearted, 'cause I love you too much.
It's a very, very nice bluesy original version. There's a nice piano entry, and Elvis seems to have gotten that pacing from this version, but his is much different. There's not as much background vocals on that as well. Mostly just Bernard belting out the song, but and there's also a great sax break in the middle. Anyway, so Elvis's version. Elvis recorded his version on September 2nd, 1956 at Radio Recorders in Hollywood. Now, I'm not sure why, but it seems like a lot of critics, they dislike the song, and they say it's inferior to other 50s input by Elvis. They say it's like a lesser version of Don't Be Cruel, but I don't get that. I think the song is great. Elvis plays off well with the Jordanaires. It's spectacular. It has a great driving beat and it really hits hard. What do you guys think of this song?
Go ahead, Jamie.
It's a great song. I always enjoyed the version from the Ed Sullivan Show.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's.
Have you heard of that criticism that it's like a lesser Don't Be Cruel?
I could see where they're coming from, but it's not. It doesn't have enough. For me, it doesn't have enough in common with Don't Be Cruel.
No.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What do you think, Justin? You like it, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, of course. But yeah, I mean, it was a number 2, I think.
Yes, it was.
Because it wasn't a number
no,
1.
No, it wasn't.
But it was still a big hit for Elvis, and like Jamie said, he performed it on the Ed Sullivan Show. That's probably my favorite version of it.
Like to hear you sighing, even though I know you like love you too much. Yeah.
kind of disappointed that he never really revisited.
No,
it.
not really.
I would have loved to have heard him.
Scotty always jokes that he got lost in that middle instrumental break, but I mean, I think it's just fine. I don't know. It sounds good to me. I mean, even Ernst in his Life and Music kind of dismisses the songs. So I don't know. I always question why it seemed to be overlooked, but who knows? They did 12 takes before moving on to Any Place Is Paradise, and they didn't feel like they got it, so the release version is a splice from take 12 and take 2. Once again, sadly, none of the alternate takes are available because RCA doesn't know what they're doing. So the song was released January 4th, 1957, as a single, backed out with Playing for Keeps. It was also on Elvis's Golden Records Volume 1, March 21st, 1958. It reached number 2, as Justin said, on the Billboard charts, but was kept out of that number 1 spot by Tab Hunter's Young Love. Now, while you were gone, I was actually just talking to Jamie. Young Love by Sonny James, it was one of the reasons why Elvis got mad at the Jordanaires, because apparently they sang that with him. And that kept another of Elvis's songs out of that top slot. And I guess he went off on them, even though it was never said that they can't record with anybody else. And apparently the next day he felt really bad and he apologized profusely about it. But that was the only time he blew up on the Jordanaires. I guess he didn't like them Jordanaring with someone else.
Yeah, well, especially if he kept it.
We're going to make this a verb.
We are.
We're going to make it a thing.
I'm down with this. I like this idea. Yeah.
I think Too Much is superior to Young Love, if you ask me. I mean, I like Young Love, but I don't know what the teenagers were thinking back then, because, yeah, Too Much is vastly superior.
Young love, first love, filled with true devotion.
So, as you guys said, Elvis performed it live on his last appearance of Ed Sullivan's Toast to the Town on January 6th, 1957. This was part of that Waist Up only performance. As you guys said, this is an excellent version. Similar to the studio, except he does some ad-libbing, where he's like, you know that you're the most, and the Jordanaires are backing up. So a lot of changes to the lyrics, but it's still great. I mean, this is Elvis doing doo-wop live. How cool is that?
Oh yeah, I'm pretty sure that some of that is Elvis. If you look at his face after he says that, it's very subtle, but it's a screw up.
It is. You know that you are and then they're like, you're the most.
The most. And in fact, he even gets this look on his face like, I don't know, screw it.
It goes.
This is live. It's like, it's one of those things.
Please, hear me. Stay real close. You know that you're the most. Now you got me started. Don't you leave me broken hearted. 'Cause I love you too much.
Yeah, it's like, well, I think he does. You got me bleeping. He's like, yeah, and it just kind of spirals. It's funny. Yeah. It's one of those moments where one flub. I think we talked about this in the last time because the first, what was it? One of the songs from '56 actually, Bill screws up, and that makes Scotty screw up. Tutti Frutti.
Yeah.
Bill.
Yeah, Tutti Frutti.
Yeah,
yep.
3 times Bill stops playing, or twice Bill stops playing, and then Scotty just kind of loses where he's more and more, and so it's a mistake can spiral like that, like nobody's business, and you're just like, how it all went wrong in this one spot. So yeah,
there was we had talked about it on, was it the last episode or maybe the episode before, but there was that version of Heartbreak Hotel that was on, I want to say it was the Dorsey Brothers stage show where he was doing it with an orchestra.
Yeah,
and
they messed up.
That was another one of those where it just spiraled out of control because the orchestra just got way off from where Elvis and the band were.
Yeah, because they're on and the problem is they're on a rigid time signature.
Yeah,
that's completely anathema to Elvis and the way he would perform music. That doesn't exist. So, and the band director somehow didn't have, apparently he goes, well, you're just the singer. I'm the band director. This is my tempo. No, dude, this is not your tempo. This cannot be your tempo, and will never be your tempo again. And so, yeah, which is why when they do it again, they were told, okay, you hit the beats, and you better look at him. and so the next time they did any of it, because like the first time they did like the big horn solo and all this kind of stuff, and the second time all of that was gone. The only thing they did is they did the accent points and they got off. They left. That was it. Yeah, that's exactly what.
What was interesting about that, and I know we're getting way off track from Gurdip's Song of the Week, but I did notice on the Viva Elvis version that they used some of those horn arrangements. Not obviously the recording, but the arrangement in the version of Heartbreak Hotel and Viva Elvis.
Yeah,
which I like that version.
I like that on the. I do like the fact that even though some of them depart wildly from the original versions, I do enjoy a fair amount of. At least the up-tempo numbers for Viva Elvis. But I do like that they threw in a lot of little, it's like somebody actually spent time and went through the catalog.
There's Easter eggs.
Yeah, the Easter egg.
We did a whole episode on Viva Elvis, the album and the show. And yeah, that was fun to dig into the Easter eggs that are in that. Even in Got a Lot of Living to Do, there's a ton of Easter eggs.
Yep.
I read comic books and I was the hero of the comic book. I saw movies and I was the hero in the movie. So every dream that I ever dreamed has come true 100 times.
Yeah, we'll just let we'll chuckle.
Yeah.
Ed Sullivan performance excellent. I like that he's playing with the audience and having fun with the song. It's great. But speaking with remix versions, Spankock remixed this on his first remix album, Reversions, in 2008. I don't mind it. More hard-hitting drums and the typical sound effects we get from Spankock. Either you have any comments about that version, or if you could remember it?
I've got that. It was okay. Yeah. There were better remixes on that CD.
Yeah. And just to close out, there's really only one other interesting version of Too Much After Elvis. I know a lot of people recorded it. Not a lot of popular artists, but it has been. But Cliff Richard recorded a live version in '59. It's not too bad. It's similar to the original Bernard Hardison version, where there's no backup vocals, really. Lots of hiccuping vocals by him.
Well, honey, I love you too much. I need your loving too much. Well, I want some loving. You're gone. Don't you know you're treating your daddy wrong? Now you got me started. Don't you leave me broken hearted, 'cause I love you too much.
It's okay, nothing great. And Cliff Richard was like a huge star in Britain. He had a few hits here, but nothing. He didn't really break out in North America. Like he did in Britain. But it was like he was like their star during the 50s. And he actually got his name from Little Richard. He was a big fan of that. So, yeah, that was my song of the week.
Great pick. Great pick. Nice. So my song of the week, it's been a while since I've done one of these, but just to fill you in, Jamie, every once in a while we will randomly just pick a song that was from one of Elvis's contemporaries. In the past, we've done Roy Hamilton's Old Man River and Jackie Wilson's Rate Petite and Eddie Cochran's Summertime Blues and Nancy Sinatra's These Boots Are Made for Walking, just random ones. So I decided to do that this week. It's been like
you haven't done it in a while. I've done it more often.
A long time. Yeah, so the one that I picked this week is B.J. Thomas's Hooked on a Feeling.
When you hold
Not the. Is that one more known than the one by what's that group? The Swedish group that did it. Blue Swede. Yeah. Which one is known more? Probably the Blue Swede now.
It's definitely Blue Swedes, but B.J. Thomas is I mean, for me, far superior.
Really? I think I disagree. But let's.
Yeah.
And this is not just. So it was written by. Sorry, this is not just because of the Guardians. I'm talking about like way back, like Reservoir Dogs, and before that even. I love that version.
Oh no, it's a great version of it. Don't get me wrong. But it was written by Mark James, who also wrote Suspicious Minds, Tony Love, Raised on Rock, Moody Blue, Always on My Mind, that Elvis did. And it was first recorded on B.J. Thomas's album On My Way on the Scepter Records label. And that album was produced by Chips Moman.
Huh. Yeah.
Features very prominently an electric sitar, which was very common on a lot of B.J. Thomas's recordings around that time. There were two singles off that album. One was Hooked on a Feeling. The other one was The Eyes of a New York Woman, which was also written by Mark James. And that's kind of enlightening because melodically it's very similar to Hooked on a Feeling, and it even uses, there's one phrase that is lips as sweet as honeycomb. So we actually, like, the lyrics are very similar in this one portion, even like the notes that they use.
Yeah. I'll be in New York City when the lights shine bright tonight, where my woman waits for me, arms that hold me tenderly, lips as sweet as honeycomb, love that waits for me alone, deep in the eyes of a New York woman. Lips are sweet as candy, the taste stays on my mind. Girl, you keep me thirsty for another cup of wine.
And so I've always really enjoyed B.J. Thomas's version of it. And of course, Blue Swede covered it in 1974. But in between those, there was a version by an English artist by the name of Jonathan King in 1971. If you can track this version down, I know it's out there on YouTube and streaming services. He's actually the one that created the Uka Chaka intro.
Yeah, really?
When you hold me in your arms so tight, you let me know everything's alright. What kind of feeling? High on believing that you're in love with me.
It was not Blue Swedes. They ripped off the arrangement from this, English artist from 1971. And the rest of the song, it's not. It's really not close to either of the other two versions. It's much funkier. It's almost like you can pull it straight from like a discotheque, as far as Jonathan King's version of it. And then, like we said, Blue Swede covered it in 1974, famously appeared in Reservoir Dogs, and more recently in Guardians of the Galaxy.
All the good love when we're all alone. Keep it up, girl. Yeah, you turn me on. What kind of feeling? I'm high on believing that you're in love with me.
Was associated with the Dancing Baby meme from the 90s, for people that remember that.
Was that from Ally McBeal?
Yes, that did appear in an episode of Ally McBeal.
Crazy. Not that I watched that show.
And then the Baha Men covered it in 1999.
Lips as sweet as candy, its taste is on my mind. Girl, you got me thirsty for another cup of wine.
It sounds about what you can imagine the Baha Men doing that would sound like. What are you guys' take on Hooked on a Feeling, Gurdip?
So as I said, I do like B.J. Thomas's version. It is nice. It's like a nice alternate version for me. But for me, it's always been Blue Swede's version. Probably because I heard their version first. and that's in my mind. That's how it's supposed to be sung, with the hard hitting. Because B.J. Thomas is more kind of laid back, like a nice song. Whereas the Blue Swede is like hard hitting, just like, with Uga Chaka and all that. It's just, I'm sorry, but raindrops have to keep falling on B.J. Thomas's head on this song. I have to give it to Blue Swede. What do you think, Jamie?
I love both versions. I have a hard time picking, but the first time I ever heard the song was definitely the Blue Swede version in a Listerine commercial.
Really?
Yeah.
When was this?
I believe it. It's been a cajillion commercials and movies and TV shows.
Oh yeah, it's been in a ton of stuff. And that's a great song. There was that often makes lists of songs Elvis should have done.
Well, and that was the thing is I really think Elvis would have done a great version of it, like circa That's the Way It Is.
Yeah.
Like, if you go and you listen to the arrangement that, BJ and Chips put on this from the original studio version, it's right up Elvis's alley. Yeah. And Elvis obviously took, some influence from BJ, because he covered I Just Can't Help Believin', which was one of BJ's songs. And I really do. I think with those horns and even if you took out the sitar and just had the rest of it, I think the TCB band and Elvis would have done a phenomenal version of it. And it is, B.J. Thomas performs in a vocal style that's very similar to Elvis.
Yeah, my son always thought Raindrops Keep Falling on My Head was by Elvis. And I never got that. I was like, where does he get Elvis from? But now that you say it, I guess other people hear it too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Well, and later on, BJ did a version of Suspicious Minds as well. And it hews pretty closely to Elvis's version, which hews pretty closely to Mark James's original version.
Yeah.
Have you heard, I assume both of you have heard Mark James's version of Suspicious Minds.
Yeah, I believe so. I can't recall it, but I have heard it.
Yeah.
Yeah, the arrangement is, functionally identical to Elvis's version, minus the overdubs.
Right. Yeah.
There's an interesting side story. In 1997, B.J. Thomas was performing this live, and there was a girl at the show that was 4 years old. And midway through the song, this video is out there on YouTube. And midway through the song, he brings her up on stage and lets her sing with him on "Hooked on a Feeling," and she knows the words at age 4.
Oh.
And he is completely surprised. He's laughing at oh, I can't, he actually says while he's singing, I can't believe she knows the words. What ended up happening is that later on the girl grows up and she becomes an actor and a singer. Her name is Sarah Niemietz, I believe is how you pronounce it. But she has been a vocalist for the some of the videos and songs by Postmodern Jukebox.
Oh, wow. Very cool.
Nice.
And a couple months ago, they were great.
Yeah. Essentially what had brought her to attention was she had done a cover of Adele's Rolling in the Deep, and it basically went viral and brought her a lot of attention, which is how she ended up getting hooked up with Postmodern Jukebox. Okay. The songs that she did for them, there was a cover of the Talking Heads' This Must Be the Place, their cover of Outkast's Hey Ya, Justin Bieber's Love Yourself, and the Pokemon theme.
Pokemon, it's you and me. I know it's my destiny. Oh, you're my best friend in a world we must defend. Pokemon.
I'll come back to that in a moment. it's gonna come around in a really weird way. So in 2013, B.J. Thomas re-recorded "Hooked on a Feeling" on his album "The Living Room Sessions," which was kind of his unplugged album, and she actually is on there duetting with him on it.
Cool.
Oh wow!
And it's a very sweet arrangement. It's not as very 60s as the original.
Yeah.
But it's a very nice vocal performance from both him and her. The harmonies are actually very well matched on that. I definitely recommend checking this out.
I can't stop this feeling deep inside of me. Boy, you just don't realize what you do to me. When you hold me in your arms so tight, you let me know everything's alright. I'm hooked on a feeling, I'm believing that you're in love with me.
And I'm going to go off on a tangent here, but so the Postmodern Jukebox was created by a guy named Scott Bradley, and he had actually, in 2013, improvised a jazz version of the theme song from Pokemon, and it had gone viral on Reddit. And around the same time, there was this video of a groundskeeper at I think it was either a football game or a soccer game. I don't remember which one. All you could see was that the field was green behind him. But he's dancing, apparently, to whatever music was playing in the stadium. And there was a Redditor that synced up Scott Bradley's version of the Pokemon theme and the groundskeeper dancing. And what's amazing is that the guy it matches up so perfectly with he claps and then he rolls over backwards, like he does a somersault backwards, and it matches up perfectly with the music. And so Scott Bradley uploaded this to his YouTube channel, and it's, this was 2013, so it was 5 years ago.
Yeah.
But, so the Redditor who actually did the video sync was me.
Ah.
Wow.
Wow. Very nice.
And so it's just I picked this song just because I was interested in the song. I liked the song. I thought, like we've talked about, that's one that Elvis should have done.
Yeah.
And I always liked the BJ and Elvis connection. And then I started unraveling, going down this rabbit hole of, and then there was this girl, and there's this whole story.
And then it led
bring her
back
up
to
on
you.
stage. And then it led back to me.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Because she sang on the version because he took that Pokemon theme that he did in 2013 and essentially polished up the arrangement and then had her sing over it.
Okay.
Which is, yeah. And so, it's just bizarre how it ended up coming back around.
That story you were saying with B.J. Thomas and the 4-year-old singing reminds me. I think I even texted you when I went to the Winter Festival this past weekend, and there was a country western band playing there, and they were taking requests, and my son yells out "Mystery Train," and the keyboardist he's just shaking his head, goes up to the mic, he's like, "How the heck do you know that song?" Because he's 10, right? So I was obviously, how the heck do you know that? And my son just points to me, and I just kind of shrug my head. And he's like, "You're doing a good job, Dad." I'm like,
I bet Jamie got a lot of that back in the day, especially when you were a lot younger. Just people going, "How do you know all this, Elvis stuff?"
Oh, yeah, absolutely. First time I was on the stage in a little outfit, I was 11 months old. And then I was 3 when I started singing with Dad's band. And I was such an Elvis freak even then that there was a guy that he said, his dad's like, "Oh yeah, he knows all the songs that Elvis did, at least that what we had found up to that point, right?" And the guy goes, "There's no way. He doesn't know the difference between." He goes, No. He'll only dance around to an Elvis song. And the guy did a medley, and true to form, every time he went to an Elvis song, I got up and, I vaguely remember this. I don't know how old I was. And the guy says, and the guy says, "Oh, you got one wrong. He's dancing to Johnny Be Good." And Dad goes, "Watch the '73 Hawaii concert." And the guy's like,
Yep.
"Really?"
Technicality.
And also on tour.
Yeah. Well, exactly.
So awesome.
Cool.
Well, that was a great discussion on the July 56 session, and I guess great discussion with you, Jamie. I wanted to briefly touch on before we let you go and wrap up the show. We didn't talk last episode about your album "Love the World Away."
Oh.
And I just wanted to briefly just bring that up and recommend that people check that out, because I have a copy of it. I listen to it every now and again in my regular rotation of it's on my MP3 like USB flash drive, so it comes on randomly, tracks from it. So yeah.
Thank you very much, because that's they're almost every song. There's only 2 songs on that album that I didn't write, so that's really cool. I really appreciate that.
Place, just let me love the world away with you. I wanna love the world away, take it back to a Sunday. Everybody, let me love the world away with you.
Yeah.
So, Jamie, where can we find you?
Well, in Iowa, look for snow. No, anyway. You can find me on Jamie Kelley Music, JAMIE KELLEY music.com, youtube.com/Jamie Kelley Music, facebook.com/Jamie Kelley Music. There's a pattern. And you can find my stuff on there, and I post there from time to time. I'm pretty easily searchable on Twitter and Instagram, and but those are more personal as opposed to just business related stuff. Twitter seems to be a main. Well, actually, no, more Instagram stuff. But anyway, whatever. And so I'm on all those platforms. My music is on iTunes, Amazon, any place digital music is sold. We do have physical copies available on my website. And for anyone who's interested in karaoke music, because I got my start, been an Elvis fan since before I can even remember having thought and, of any kind whatsoever. And I got my start in Elvis music, of course. And now one of the things that I do, since I don't do it for myself anymore, is I make background music. Myself and a team of people make background music for professional tribute artists and just people that like hearing instrumentals recorded with the same kind of analog materials that were used back then, and trying to recreate even the mistakes that were made. And you can find that on justawesomekaraoke.com. And don't forget the contest, the online vocal contest, is going to be coming. If it's not up by the time this episode airs, it should be just a few days after. So
cool. Thank you for coming on this week. It was great having you again.
Thank you for having me. This is a really good time. So,
Justin, where can they find us quickly?
TCBcast.libsyn.com, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. We're at TCBcast. And basically anywhere where you can find podcasts, we're now synced up with most of those places. I mean, Podbean and everywhere. So yeah, that's check us out. Send us an email, tcbcast@gmail.com, if you have any thoughts, if you have any feedback for Jamie. If you don't reach out to him on his Facebook page or his outlets, you can always send something to us as well, and we'll make sure to get it over to him.
For sure. Cool. All right. Well, I guess it's a hot time in Florida.
Rainy night in Georgia.
Beautiful.
Mickey Alba. No.
Cool.
You've been listening to the TCBcast, an unofficial Elvis fan podcast. Justin Gosman and Gurdip Ladar have left the building.
Someone must have stomped on his head with those blue suede shoes.
Thank you and good night.
Mickey Alba.